this year's 2020 season. Let's give you some cricket news now, a story that we've been following right here on SABC News. Now, with all the turmoil currently happening in Cricket South Africa, 3 administrators have raised their hands with regards to taking up the leadership mantle at the Embattled Federation. We're now joined on the line by Ben Dladla, president of the franchise down in KwaZulu-Natal, Dolphins. He is the president of. Mr. Dladla, thank you very much indeed for joining us on SABC News. Can you hear me, sir?
Loud and clear, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dladla. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritties
of you raising your hand, the question a lot of people have been saying and asking is, who and what do we need at the leadership level of Cricket South Africa? There's transformation questions. Over the past couple of weeks, we've seen cricketers, former cricketers, black African cricketers and players of colour coming out and saying what has been going on behind the scenes has been tough for them and something has to change. You are now running for the mantle at Cricket South Africa. What are you promising to come with in regards to transformation and that fundamental change for you to get that vote?
Good evening and good evening to your viewers. I actually will have to make it a point that transformation is at the uppermost level in terms of CSA. We have been dealing with this topic of transformation. We have had indabas, we have had meetings, but we have never implemented it the way that will reflect the inclusivity and the diversity of the South African population. So for me, this is now the time to start acting on transformation. So one is prepared to engage all relevant stakeholders and see how we improve on our transformation targets. There are EPG targets, but as far as I'm concerned, I think we need to set our own beyond the ones that are set by the EPG so that we move forward. We must be seen to take action at this point. The time for talking about transformation and not doing anything for me is over. So I would like to see the team, all teams, women and male teams, junior teams, all reflecting the society that South Africa is about.
Mr. Dladla, if you can hear me, I think I've lost you.
Mr. Dladla, if you can hear me, I think I've lost you. Maybe I can ask the studio to boost you in my ear. But if you're still there, I heard what you've been saying, or vaguely heard it. I think the question then comes in with legacy. We speak about, as you rightfully say, you'd like to start from junior level, from kids, Baker's cricket, as it were, back in the days and what it is today, to the franchises. That something has to be changed in terms of transformation. We speak about it. A lot of people say we speak a good game. We hear it in and out, but it will take a leader with steel to be able to stand up to the powers that be and force down that transformation on them, in particular the franchise owners, because it's big money in cricket. And some would say, if my kid doesn't play and he's of a particular race, white play, if I can be blunt and say it that way, you see at a school level that he will always be in the team because the father would possibly be a major donor to that particular school or particular franchise at junior level. It's deep-rooted down at the bottom. And that's the difficulty I think you would face to try and change it down there for it to filter up to the top, sir.
Yes, we have to put it from all angles. I think why that happened is because if you've got a coach who is also biased towards certain communities. That's why with us, in terms of transformation, we need to transform not only the players but the coaches. We also need to transform to have playing facilities where everybody will be trained and will be on par with whoever. And if the coach is confident enough, he can never be influenced by a parent. So he will do what is right for the team. But again, I want to close. There is a gap between the franchises and CSA in terms of communication channels. My plan is to close that particular gap. Let's all find each other and work towards the same thing, so that they know from the coaches of the under 11, under 6, they are all doing one and the same thing when it comes to transformation. Because if we don't have our black players playing at that level, we are closing the gap for them to play at the top level. And again, our black players will also have to be given a chance, just like everyone else, a chance to make those mistakes and rectify them. So it's not only about the players, but it have to include coaches. It will also have to include the councils and the boards in all franchises. The mentality should change that we are now serious and we are now implementing transformation.
And I think it doesn't bode too.
And I think it doesn't bode too well with the disarrayness, if I can call it that, well, at Cricket South Africa right now. I mean, if you are voted in and you take up the mantle, you are going to join a franchise which is deeply divided. I mean, a short while ago, early this afternoon, the CEO was dismissed by the board. You're going to go in. It's a company that didn't have a COO, that didn't have a CFO, that's now got an acting CEO. The president was also gone. Why is this happening to cricket, first and foremost, and how are you planning to change that? Because the face of cricket right now is not a pretty one.
One will have to unify the structures that you already have. There is a gap between members' council and the board. I will unify that. I think I'm the right person to unify that particular structure. Give each and everyone his or her responsibilities. Everyone must know what his responsibility is. Then once we are all united, we're all working towards the same direction. We're working towards the same goal. We will have to make it a point that we all transform. There will be those few who might not be happy with the transformation, but this is not the time to miss it. This is the time to correct cricket. Yes, we have made some mistakes at CSA level, but as somebody who has been within, I think I have seen what needs to be corrected there. So, firstly, the unity of all of us, then we have to quickly make a point that the vacancies that are there and open, we fill them as quickly as possible. We have to make it a point that even if there are issues of differences at board level, but it should not affect the player.
Yeah. Mr. Dladla, we're running out of time.
Mr. Dladla, we're running out of time. Last question, possibly, in fact, preluding to that answer there. There's been talk of a TRC sort of formation, Truth and Reconciliation Commission within sport as a whole. For cricket, do you think that would be advisable? What's your take on that? Quickly, we're running out of time, but a lot of people saying that it's time maybe to get that move on, to get that inclusiveness. We need to actually speak about the past and get over and done with, because there are players as we speak right now who is director of cricket at Cricket South Africa, and there's former players who are saying he was the man directly linked to their hardships within cricket. Would you support a TRC?
Everything that can help cricket will have to support. That's why we are saying we need to engage all the structures. We have to listen to each and everyone who has it with the intention of assisting out cricket. There are structures that I've already identified. We will talk to them. I would support that, because we are not the only people who know about cricket. There are people who know not more than we know. So we will invite them, talk to them, listen to them, take what is good from them and implement it. I will make it a point that every stakeholder is given an earring at CSA level.
Yeah. Ben Dladla, president of the KwaZulu-Natal Franchise.
Ben Dladla, president of the KwaZulu-Natal Franchise the Dolphins. Thank you indeed for joining us on SABC News, speaking to us on all things cricket and, of course, the hardships cricket are currently facing. As we heard earlier this afternoon, the CEO, Tabang Maroa, being told that he must step aside at the helm of Cricket South Africa. Let's take a quick ad break. In a couple of minutes' time, at the top of the hour, there's more news for you. You're watching SABC News Channel. This is The Full View. Francis follows after this.